Welcome to Secured with Dr. KJ, the podcast where we break down cybersecurity, the technologies driving it, and the companies shaping our digital future. I'm your host, Dr. Kenneth Johnson, cybersecurity leader, technologist, and strategist. Cybersecurity isn't just an IT concern, it's a business imperative. Each episode, we'll explore key topics like cloud security, zero trust, AI-driven defense, and more. We'll assess how tech leaders are adapting, where they need to improve, and what it takes to stay ahead of evolving threats. This podcast features expert insights from security professionals, industry leaders, and technologists, offering real-world solutions to modern cybersecurity challenges. Whether you're a business leader, security expert, or just curious about how technology keeps us safe, this podcast is for you. Subscribe and join the conversation as we explore cybersecurity's biggest challenges, securing tomorrow one episode at a time. Today's guest is Joshua Boyce, a proven cybersecurity leader, strategist, and U.S. Air Force veteran. Joshua has held senior roles at Amazon, Microsoft, Salesforce, and now Cisco, where he leads a global defense cybersecurity team. Throughout his career, he has guided organizations through major incidents like WannaCry, built resilient security operations, and defined enterprise-wide strategies that safeguard critical assets and enable growth. Joshua is not only recognized for his technical expertise, but for his ability to mentor and elevate the next generation of cybersecurity professionals, launching programs to bring in new talent, foster diversity, and push the industry forward. With expertise spanning crisis response, AI-driven defense, and enterprise transformation, Joshua brings a unique perspective on how to align security with business outcomes while staying ahead of an ever-evolving threat landscape. Joshua, welcome to the show.
KJ, thanks for having me today.
Yeah, man, 100%. I really appreciate you hopping on. And let's just jump right into the first question here. So when you think about it, in today's threat landscape, how can security leaders move from a reactive stance to a proactive defense posture that drives safe and secure business outcomes?
No, it's a fantastic question and one that all leaders should be asking. We're in a very, very exciting period of time where AI is not just a tool. It's becoming a teammate in the SOC. We have long since looked at AI as being like a tier zero or being, right there on the triage side of things. And I think over the next 3 to 5 years, what we're going to see is that AI is going to increasingly handle the first 90 seconds of all of security triage. And what it's going to do is it's going to, do triage, alerts, correlating threat intelligence. Mm-hmm. And I think it's even going to go as far as suggesting and taking some small containment actions that will help get humans out of the bottleneck. There's this concept of a value chain, right? And as has these big technology advances, we can continuously move our security analysts up the value chain from previously just answering a big collective team mailbox to triaging these trillions of alerts to now, of course, now we can actually have them focused on judgment calls, strategic defense, really put our human capital to work. And I think the key safeguard here is trust, right? As we enable and put AI into these systems, we can't just let it go without accountability and safeguards. I think that we often look at AI as something that's going to replace people, and that's going to be a strong message for me, is that AI is a force multiplier. It's a help. It's a way to move faster and quicker with more accuracy and higher quality within your operations, but it's never to be replacing people. AI is going to become our fastest responder, but humans are just going to be remaining as the final decision makers.
No, and I love that. It's not a replacement for humans, right? We're not Tesla trying to put out bots all the time, right? So I think that's the key there as well. But I think when you go back to it, right, AI and having AI is great. But what about the data behind it, right? I think you kind of alluded to it, but I would love to dive a little deeper, right? Like you can throw AI on top of any data that you have, and it's going to spit out based on the quality of your data, what it feels it needs to return. So how do you go about really cleaning that data to ensure that the AI is providing you exactly what you need, the right context? And I think your key word there was trust, right? You can trust the results that come from that.
Yeah, no, and I mean you're hitting a very age-old problem that all companies across the world
Mhm.
have, which is garbage in, garbage out, right?
Yeah.
When you're introducing the wrong data um, into your model, into your
Mhm.
ecosystem, you're just going to get those bad results right back out. And that's a team effort, right? That's something where you need a collective strategy as an enterprise that goes well beyond security. That we are going to have good inventory, we are going to have asset management. This is a really strong collaboration with your engineering partners, with your folks that are enabling these systems. To make sure that you do have that data integrity, because you're
Yeah.
exactly right. When you don't have that, no matter how fancy or how amazing you're going to build in this solution, it's not going to have the output that you think it's going
Yeah, no, agreed. And I also think about the identities. We think about permissions, right? Like the scope creep on that. So when you're now adding AI to that, that just multiplies it, right, by 100.
have.
And
Absolutely.
I'm like, wow. I was like, we need to have a better way of just really remediating, whether it's using AI to remediate that, right? Hey, it surfaced the problem, and then we can push the data back in. I think it needs to be a bi-directional conversation between the AI and the data. And I think that's coming down the road.
I see that as well.
Yeah. And so when you think about the role and the cross-industry collaboration, right, and how that plays in strengthening the security resilience, how can we better share intelligence without really compromising that sensitive information?
Yeah, threat. Now, are you wanting to see threat intelligence shared outside of the enterprise to like? Are we seeing more companies sharing threat intelligence across the lost?
And that's it, right? We need to be able to share. So how would we go about sharing that type of data?
I see
To our
good progress with like relationships like the first organization, and like
Mhm.
different organizations that are really trying to like say, look, when you can come to the table, you can abide by our bylaws, and you can really have a set of um, kind of the the TLP system and all these different
Right.
things that can help enable these different groups. I point to things like the ISACA groups and stuff that are set up, and I think those are the right track. I think there is more that we can do as an industry to share threat intelligence. Right now, I
Mhm.
see still a lot of back channeling. Right, the security community is aggressively small, right, and
Right.
we're constantly, oh, I know this person, and it's through relationship that I see the most action in this space, and it's hard to be able to point to that and say, well, how do you scale relationships, right? And I don't have the perfect answer to that, but I do know
Right.
that like the best results that I see now in threat intelligence are ones where people go back to someone they trust, and they're able to say, hey, like kind of off the record, like we're seeing this from this actor group, like what are you seeing? And they're able to kind of do some cross comparison that way. And I would love to be able to see how we could do that better as we kind of like ramp that up, because you're not always going to know your buddy formerly in the
Right.
company to go back and do that. And so I don't the problems, of course, that we get challenged with in that space. There's legality and NDAs and things that you can kind of try to get in place to go
Yeah.
around and through that. But I think there's an opportunity for us to continue doing that. And I see that through AI accelerating that. If you're able to abscond and redact sensitive information, but still share
Yeah.
IOCs across the industry, I think that would be attractive to many companies in terms of um, being able to put their threat intelligence into one kind of
Right.
threat stream, so to speak, and then
Yeah.
be able to get those results back.
Yeah, I think you talked about it, right? Relationships. So, I mean, how are you convincing, some of those competitors that you may work with now, or, maybe in the future, right? Or regulators as well, right? To share the threat intelligence, for the benefits of everyone. I think monetary is the number one thing that everybody thinks about, right? Being monetary. But how would you think about that?
I I'm glad you raised that up, and I think that the headspace that I see a lot of practitioners in at are making the internet a safer place, and
Hmm.
I think we're seeing this beyond just Microsoft's problem or Cisco's problem or Salesforce's problem. This is a global issue, right? When you have an actor group, a nation states, actor group that is targeting specifically, even just call it, nationalism, just targeting the United
Right.
States in general, right? And as a result,
Yeah.
your company is a target of that. I think that it does invoke something a little deeper than just corporate, a corporate mentality around, what company happens to pay your paycheck. You're like, this is true cyberspace, and and I
Right.
know you and I both share like a military background. And I think for as veterans, right, we kind of sometimes go that way a little bit too. We're like, oh my goodness, the Air Force, right, it has a cyberspace mission, and there's a reason for that because there's so
That's
much
right.
warfare happening, and I think that we're almost just civilian contractors in the middle of a sometimes global, cyber warfare, and I
Yeah.
think if we can kind of sometimes break ourselves away from just the identity of what company we work for, we can help each other, you know, kind of come to each other's aid, so to speak,
Yes.
in times when we need it the most.
Yes, and I think, we both have products, right? We have products and services that we can provide our customers that make a lot of sense, right? And we can do this for free. We're always going to make money off the products that we sell at our companies, but I mean, we can help our customers really combat these threat actors, these folks that want their crown jewels, and move forward from there. So when you think about, AI just in general, we kind of talked about it a little bit on the first question, but it's really reshaping the attack surface
Mhm.
and the defense strategies. So, how do you see AI influencing that future incident response? And like, what are some of the opportunities and risks organizations are in adopting?
I think that as we see a mindset shift in how we're going from firefighting and seeing security as this very reactive piece. I think we're going to continuously be seeing security be a core component of every piece of software and product
Hmm.
that we push. And I think that the risks I see are both positive and negative. The positive risks are that we can detect and protect our products much better than we are today, right?
Right.
We can get there faster. We can build higher quality into those products. The negative risks I see again are trust, right? Again, as you're the more you automate and you start to stave off the human oversight, the more you're going to have to trust that the AI is making those good decisions, those good quality. And I think that we can build that in, right? And there needs to be good quality control that, again, humans need to be final decision makers on really important things, right? We shouldn't be having AI make final decision. We shouldn't have AI replacing decision makers. I think that, as you let, and and I think this is another point too, is that there's so much hype around AI that it baffles me that we often forget that we've been using machine learning, and we've been using these types of concepts for many, many, many
Many
years, and
years.
and we've had great lessons learned. We have great practices in place for
Yeah.
how to safely and utilize this technology.
Hmm.
And then the AI buzzword has just accelerated that so much that I kind of fear that businesses are operating a little bit too fast, and they're moving too quickly, and they just need to take a step back. There's so much aggression to speed to market right now that
Right.
there is just this hyper accelerated. um, Chat GPT really kind of made its premiere, and within like 15 days, I had like just just thousands of messages, coming at me saying,
Yeah.
we're now so AI enabled, we're AI this, we're AI that. And I
Wow.
think we need to break through the AI farce of this kind of this marketing bubble and get to actually what is AI doing to better our products.
I like that. So, I mean, if you're thinking about the over reliance on AI, especially given the risk, kind of like you said, right? Like adversarial AI or data positioning, how do we make sure that it's smart and we're using this smart enough or implementing it smart enough so we're not over reliant? You talked about the human element and having, hey, the final decision, which I think makes 100% sense, right? But I'm now thinking about AI, error checking AI.
Mm-hmm.
How do you, that's the over resilience reliance I'm talking about, right? And so how do you look at that? And then how do you work with a customer and say, hey, I think you're a little over reliant here. Maybe this process will do better doing X, Y, or Z.
Yeah, no, that's a great comment. I don't have the perfect answer on how to go check AI, but I do know that there
Right.
is a need to go and do that. And I know that that answer is going to come back to a human, right? And having a
Right.
human, and having some safeguards, put in place. And I know that there's things that are being worked on within the AI space that are going to make it more reliable and help, monitor and
Mm-hmm.
curb
Yeah.
its ability to morph over time. And uh, I think going to a vendor or even a customer and having that hard conversation might be difficult, and you might have to really work on framing that in a way that doesn't bring offense, but I think it is a kind conversation to have. I
Yeah.
think those companies that are over reliant on AI and too trusting of their technology without the appropriate oversight are kind of setting themselves up for like a really big problem further down the line. And hopefully, you can
Right.
offer that as a perspective that maybe helps them um, you know, just take a more prudent direction that helps them
Mm.
build a better product in the end. And maybe they'll respect you for having having that bold conversation with them.
Right. No, I think they would, and I think that's the name of the game. Conversation. I think you said it right. Conversation, relationships, and there's just 100% oversight of what's going on, right? And so, Joshua, I would really love, I love this conversation, and I would love your final thoughts.
Yeah, no, I talked about how in the next few years, AI is going to be our fastest responder, and how we have to ensure the quality of that, and how humans are these final decision makers. But I think it's you gotta lead with trust, right? We gotta trust the data. We have to trust our AI, and we have to act before we get into these really compromising situations. The most thing that I can leave with you today is that AI needs to accelerate. It needs to be a force multiplier, and it needs to accelerate your team. It needs to accelerate your employees, but it should never replace them. And if we can get ourselves into a mind space that we get people thinking about how does AI help me do my job faster, better, with higher quality, not replace me, that's going to take people from this guarded, defensive, AI is going to, going to replace my job, and why even go into coding anymore? That's what some kids are getting messaging around. But we need
Yeah.
to shift our mindset that AI is an accelerant, and it's a great accelerant at that. And any company would be wise to be investing heavily in figuring out how to make that part of their global strategy.
No, Joshua, that was amazing tidbits there. And I look forward to having you on a future show. And so you can drop some more tidbits for the listeners. So, again, thank you for joining, and we'll talk soon. That wraps up today's episode of Secure with Dr. KJ. A huge thank you to Joshua Boyce for joining us and sharing his insights from how AI is becoming the fastest responder in security operations to the importance of trust, quality data, and human oversight in building resilient defenses. If there's one key lesson to take away, it's this: AI should be viewed as a force multiplier, not a replacement. When paired with strong fundamentals, data integrity, collaboration, and human decision-making, it accelerates security teams and enables safer business outcomes. Joshua, thank you again for the thoughtful conversation. I look forward to having you back to drop more wisdom in a future episode. Until next time, securing tomorrow, one episode at a time.